Hello, and welcome back to Cyrodiil. A lot has changed in the 200 years since the Oblivion Crisis, and even more has changed since our last proper dev diary. In this video, we're going to go over all the progress we've made thus far. That's right, all of it. From the project's dark creation in 2012 to where it stands today. This year in particular, rather than set our workflow on a new county, we decided to use this as a catch-up year for our project. As we were finalizing more and more areas of Cyrodiil, we wanted to ensure the overall quality and consistency of this content. This year was the perfect opportunity to address these topics. Almost all departments of Cyrodiil have been progressing with flying colours this year. Much of our workflow is built around the completion of all of Cyrodiil's 9 counties and their major cities. Our numerous city trailers exemplify this, specifically in the recent release of the milestone trailers for Skingrad, Chorrol, and now Such from the Creation ModCon 2023 showcase. So let's take a step back and go over the progress of each county. You're going to see some charts and percentages in this video. Be sure to take them with a grain of salt. As this is an ongoing project, everything is subject to change. You will also notice here that the Imperial City will have little in the way of listed progress. While 3D art and level design work on finalizing the city, the other departments will be holding off on extensive work on it. Once all of the other counties have reached a more complete state, the team will shift focus to the beautiful capital of the Empire all at once. Now, to the juicy updates. Bruma. You probably know that this one is our pre-release, which is already completed and ready to download for you all to play. Enjoy, if you haven't already. You can find the link in the description. Bruma being finished was a major accomplishment for the team, and we've learned a lot since its release. These lessons have culminated into a robust workflow, which runs like a well-oiled machine. It's worth noting that the completeness of Bruma does not include Cyrodiil's main story questlines. This goes for every county in Cyrodiil. Questlines are overlaid into existing regional content, so as to feel as though they are taking place in a living, breathing world. Therefore, these are counted separately of the city and county progress. Bruma County will not be altered extensively from its current state, besides these and other regional quest tie-ins. After Bruma and some foundational work for the province were out of the way, our main goal has been completing the western half of Cyrodiil. This doesn't just mean finishing the 4 major cities in Colovia, but as it makes up nearly half of the total playable area, it also includes around 50 settlements, which are lived-in locations, 81 dungeons, and 2,911 exterior cells, which are small sections of the landmass to be landscaped. And let's not forget about the over 140 quests this part of the province boasts. Working towards this milestone as a team gives us specific goals to reach and motivates us as we get more and more things into a playable state. Now, we're in the final steps and have a clear path to finishing Colovia. To give you an idea of the amount of work we've put in, we'd like to share some details about our progress in this region. First of all, we'll talk about exterior level design. This work can be separated into the individual regions in the western half of Cyrodiil. Coming from Bruma and the Chorrol Mountains, you first wander down southwest into the Great Forest. This region is made of 3 main forest types, these being aspen, oak, and redwood woodlands. A good part of the aspen forest is already accessible when playing Bruma. Over the past few years, as we've worked on the nearby settlements, this region has been given an overhaul to create a lush yet mysterious feel. All of these forest types are starting to undergo finalization passes to make sure they have the right amount of ore veins, harvestable plants, and interesting explorable points of interest for you all to discover. Rising up to the west and following down the Hammerfell border, the Colovian Highlands are the rocky highland home to bandits, orcs, and sheep herders off the beaten path away from civilization. The more you go westward, the drier and more wild the environment becomes, until you reach the deep canyon excavated by the Bruma River, which marks the border with Hammerfell. This region is now undergoing finalization passes. While much of these areas may seem final, appearances can be deceiving, as a lot more goes into level design than simple aesthetics. Gameplay considerations need to be taken into account. So when we say a region is undergoing finalization passes, that means it has entered a stage where it is final beyond what you may see. Down the slopes and along the Strid and Kolov rivers, there is the West Weald. This is a pleasant region of mixed woodlands and hilly meadows, as well as the breadbasket of Colovia. The West Weald has had many passes since we worked on Kvatch all those years ago, and it's another biome we will soon be starting finalization on. We also hope to add new weathers to this region and the rest of Colovia to give them a warmer feel than the current Skyrim-based weathers. On the shores of the Abyssian, the Gold Coast is a warm and sunny shrubland with scattered pine groves. This region is pretty much complete, with new flora, weather, sound effects and coastal features recently added to help bring out the truly Mediterranean feel it deserves. The only area that we have yet to finalize is the Abyssian itself. This is because we want to have lively underwater biomes as well, which include coral reefs and hidden secrets for you to discover. Now that we have taken a deep dive into the different regions of Colovia, we will now visit the people who inhabit these varied lands. Kvatch. Being the next county after Bruma to tackle, Kvatch was an interesting challenge. When work on it started, we were still trying to find our footing in the development of Cyrodiil, but now Kvatch is our second most complete city behind Bruma. In our version of Cyrodiil, Kvatch is the heart of Colovia, a bustling city rebuilt from the ashes of the Oblivion Crisis. One of the final obstacles which was hindering the total completion of Kvatch was the incomplete large house interior tileset we needed to replace the Solitude City placeholders we were using there. Now, that obstacle no longer exists, and one of the goals of this catch-up year to finalize all of Kvatch's interiors is nearing completion, with 27 of 34 of the city's interiors finalized. As for the other departments, almost all have achieved a finalized state here in Kvatch, with writing, editing, exteriors, art, implementation, and quality assurance having finalized the majority of their work in the city. Besides interiors and questline content, work on a number of city scenes is all that really remains in the city, with a number of these requiring only a final editing, implementation, and quality assurance, or QA, pass. This means that Kvatch is fully complete in terms of its content, having its major city arc, side quests, miscellaneous quests, characters, and flavor text all written, edited, and implemented and tested by QA. Though, one thing that should be stated is that QA work is always ongoing throughout Cyrodiil in some form. But by complete, we mean that an area has received proper bug fixing on all aspects and that everything works properly. QA is always busy working to make sure everything makes sense, is consistent, and most importantly, fun to experience. We're excited to see the city finally reach a fully complete state very soon. Kvatch County as a whole isn't quite as far along as the city itself. All of our locations are planned and some are fully implemented, but others still need a bit more rounds through our workflow process to be considered complete. This will likely be done soon as part of our catch-up phase wrapping up. The exteriors team faces a major challenge when designing Cyrodiil. Nearly every region is both a unique biome in itself while also being a transition region to an entirely different unique biome. This is doubly so for Kvatch, which borders 3 other counties of wildly different region design, as well as borders 2 other provinces entirely, to the north and south. Because of this, finalizing the level design of Kvatch was previously not possible. Only now that its neighbouring counties are reaching more complete states, 3D environmental assets have been completed, and the work of other departments has progressed greatly, can it begin to work towards completion itself. Similarly, implementation, editing, QA, and even writing to a degree ran into some barriers when working towards the completion of this county. With its neighbouring regions reaching a more complete state, we've used this catch-up time to focus on bringing it all together here in Kvatch County. As you can see, a large portion of the region is now complete, with settlements populated by people going about their daily lives, just waiting on the helping hand of an adventurer to take on a quest or two. But there is still a bit more work to make it feature complete. Unfortunately, the dungeons in Kvatch County are some of the least complete, with only 4 of the 15 completely done. If you are a dungeon designer or interested in learning at the Arcane University, we would love another helping hand in bringing up this count. Finalizing the area's dungeons will greatly aid in our mission to finalize Colovia as a whole. Well, I hope you better understand the state of the county which followed Bruma's completion, because we are just getting started. Now we look to greener pastures, to a land of rolling hills and red maples, to Skingrad. Skingrad was our next Colovian city to see real progress after Kvatch, but only after we spent years building up the foundations of Cyrodiil as a whole. This included work on Bravil County. Skingrad was one of the first cities to get work done under a semi-functioning project workflow, one which formed the basis for the one we use now. As such, Skingrad was the first city to reach a state of completion which approached something that felt finalized post-Bruma. It has set a standard that other cities have followed since. This means that Skingrad has seen a great deal of progress across the board. Here, all the interior assets were already finalized early on. This allowed most of the interiors in the city, besides a few quest-related ones, to be completed in a short time. Skingrad's exterior level design is also finished apart from a few final tweaks, mostly related to some additional 3D asset work still needed. On the implementation side of things, Skingrad also shines, with all NPCs and city scenes fully completed by all teams. One of the major focuses during this catch-up period is finishing the remaining quests in Skingrad, which still requires some writing revision before editing and implementation can work their magic. The current focus is on the city arc quests. For the viewers who aren't already aware, every city on the Cyrodiil project is going to have its own story arc for you to experience, similar to Captain Adius's arc in Bruma. Once writing revisions are complete, our editing team will review and lock the second and third quest in the Skingrad story arc. After this, our implementation team will be able to move forward in getting the rest of the city arc in-game, as the first quest has been just recently implemented. For some further context, once a quest is implemented, it goes to our QA team for playtesting and bug fixing. Not if, but when something is found to be wrong with a piece of content, QA brings it back to editing for additional dialogue, objectives, or other fixes. This collaboration between QA and editing has been very productive and beneficial to the overall polish of the content on our project. The level design in County Skingrad is some of the most beautiful in all the land. The red maples especially bring a colour to the region you'll find nowhere else. This region has some of the most complete level design in all of Colovia, with 490 of the 520 free cells finalised already. As far as the narrative and implementation side of things goes, County Skingrad is one of the furthest along, with most locations already in-game and actively being tested. Dungeons here have seen decent progress, with many being partially complete and just needing a finalization pass to make them truly memorable. Skingrad County can be counted as complete as the city of Kvatch, and therefore, it won't be long before it too is at a fully finalized state. We're excited to introduce you to the people of this land, who are as colourful as the region they inhabit. However, not even the beauty of this region can compare against the sheer majesty of our next stop. Chorrol. The city of Chorrol is a homely city of relative peace and prosperity in the darkness of the late 4th era. but one that has a mysticism unlike anywhere else in Colovia. The progress on the city in the past year has been immense. Chorrol interior assets and level design have been complete for some time. This allowed the city's implementation to progress incredibly quickly once it was ready. Writing is effectively 100% complete. Editing is right behind that number. Most of the quests in the city are in-game, and the last few are actively being implemented. QA will soon be picking it all apart with a fine-tooth comb. Like Skingrad, Chorrol also laid the foundations for the team's current workflow, building off of the work done on Skingrad prior. The editing, QA, and audio teams all found new footing here in this mountain city, and have been chugging along ever since. As cities go, Chorrol is right beside Skingrad in terms of overall progress, as we have shifted to working on them in parallel now that both have reached an advanced state of completion. Due to the isolated nature of the city, the stories shared in the city of Chorrol may not be what you expect. Surprises and mystique lie around every corner of this city. Currently, these are the focus of the work being done here, as the last few side quests and the city arc get edited and implemented. Finishing Chorrol will come just as swiftly as Skingrad and Kvatch at our current rate. County Chorrol, on the other hand, is one of the least complete regions in all of Colovia. This is not because any large swaths of land are missing. No. In fact, most of the level design here has been laid down, as you've no doubt seen in the Chorrol walkabout video. Rather, this is because there are a few key locations which can't be finished yet, due to either being directly connected to one of our quest lines, or due to waiting on some 3D asset finalization. Besides these areas, Chorrol County has been coming along quite well, with the Great Forest already feeling like the living behemoth it is. Dungeons are even around a 16 out of 30 completion rate. Inside live more than their fair share of questionable characters, to say the least. But, to shine a light on the elephant on the snow-capped hills, there lies one location which is currently preventing the completion of Chorrol County. The holy site of Sancretor. Specifically, the temple town of Sancretor is still in its first stages of level design. Although writing has been almost completed and has entered the editing stage, implementation cannot start until we complete the concept art, 3D assets, and level design. The concept art department often gets less attention than it deserves. Our artists on the team work wonders, but because Oblivion laid the foundation of much of Cyrodiil, their work is sometimes underappreciated publicly. As these concepts finalize, we will be handing off the claims to 3D architecture artists to bring the settlement to life for the other departments. If you are such an artist and wish to see Colovia reach a fully complete state, you may wish to apply to Cyrodiil and help us reach that goal ever sooner. Anvil. Anvil is the next county in our pipeline, and is the last major location besides Sancretor that is needed to complete Colovia. For the city itself, all the interiors except some work on the castle have had their assets completed. The interiors team is currently in the process of cluttering them in-game. Anvil exteriors and interiors have some notable differences from what was seen in Oblivion, and we are excited to show these off in the upcoming Anvil City trailer. Stay tuned for that in 2024. The city is currently undergoing the last bits of work needed from the writing team required for it to enter the editing and implementation process. In fact, we anticipate needing some more editors to help in our review of Anvil. If you have editing experience, a keen attention to detail, or a willingness to learn, you can apply through the form on our website. If you're a fit for the project, we will reach out to you once our editing push for Anvil has begun. As you can see, only a handful of these claims remain, and soon the stories of this coastal wonder will be fully realized. We mentioned before during the Skingrad segment that all cities have a story arc for you to complete. Anvil, however, is the first city in our development which ties its story arc into one of our main quest lines, the Seat of Sundered Kings. We are all very excited to reach this important milestone. As the writing of the final quest in the story arc nears completion, which means that writing on the Seat of Sundered King's questline will have begun, at least in part. Anvil County is in a decent state, with much of the level design complete and preparatory work on the settlements in the region mostly done as well. The Gold Coast truly is one of our most scenic regions, as you have seen. The warm weather is a pleasant reminder that we are far from the frigid mountains of Skyrim. There is a very comfortable amount of finalization already done on the exteriors in this region, with the rest well underway. The people of the Gold Coast live in arm's reach of the Abyssinian Sea, which is both a blessing and a curse. We currently have one of the settlements fully implemented, with the writing on these areas otherwise complete and awaiting the upcoming editing and implementation pass. Some work has already been done on the dungeon side of things, with 7 out of 19 dungeons already finished. This county is one of our most anticipated, being essentially ready and waiting to become fully realized, and internally, we have been getting excited to continue work on it very soon, after some of our current catching up claims. In addition, there are 2 major settlements in Anvil County, which are in a more complete state. Such is much farther along in our workflow, as you have most likely seen in our last Creation ModCon showcase. Our editing team is much to thank for our ability to showcase that particular location, as they logged over 56 pages of content for the implementation team to put in game. Included within those pages were 8 locations, 22 NPCs, 26 scenes, and the quest which was showcased. This was accomplished all within the span of a month. The such editing push was a massive success, acting as the final milestone in a training journey our editing team set off on at the beginning of the year. The editing team has since shifted their focus back to the quest content of County Chorrol to allow writing to complete for Fort Such. Currently, the fort has reached a 90% or so completion status in writing. Our implementation and QA teams are continuing to work on the fort and its surrounding settlements. This large settlement should be reaching a near complete state, alongside the mainstay cities of Skingrad, Kvatch, and Chorrol soon enough. That concludes our look at the cities of Colovia. All this time and effort spent on completing Colovia has culminated in a number of impressive milestones. We have a total of 449 NPCs and 83 quests implemented in all of Colovia combined. There are 161 interiors in the cities of Colovia, of which 106 have been finalized. This doesn't count the numerous settlements outside these areas. Finally, there are a total of 1,759 exterior cells finalized in this region. If all of that data wasn't indicative enough, we as a team are now confident enough in the state of Colovia to say the goal of bringing this half of Cyrodiil to a finalized state is within sight, and we are beyond excited to reach that point. Even though Colovia was our primary focus recently, this doesn't mean that the development process in Nibenay has been stalled. On the Nibenay side of things, we are looking at a slightly different situation. Bruma, being technically part of Nibenay, can be counted as completed. Beyond Bruma, there has been an immense amount of work on Nibenay, rivaling the work done on many areas of Colovia. However, because it isn't our current focus, we'll be covering these counties only briefly during this dev diary. On the exteriors side of things, Nibenay is split into 5 regions: the Heartlands, Nibenay Basin, Veilless Mountains, Nibenay Valley, and Blackwood. Once again, heading southeast from the Chorrols, you find the Nibenay Basin. This fairly forested area is full of the rivers that eventually feed into the Niben itself. The region is filled with willows and gum trees that hug the tributaries. The city of Cheydinhal itself is the last area in this region which requires some work before we can begin finalizing these cells. From the Nibenay Basin, we head west to the Heartlands, home to the Imperial City. This region of grasslands and small woodlands is home to many farms that feed the capital. This area is one of the more complete areas in Nibenay, however, it won't be finalized until the impressive Imperial City is finished. Heading south down the Niben, you come to the Nibenay Valley. With this being the first area we worked on after Bruma released, it will see improvements once we move our focus onto Nibenay to improve the region and bring it to life more. Moving up towards the Morrowind and Argonia borders, you find the Veilless Mountains. This area will split off from the rest of Cyrodiil in the full release, due to engine limitations. The Veilless is currently in active development, but will feature a range of biomes and hot springs once complete. Moving south, we find Blackwood. Here we have gone further than Oblivion in creating a swampy feel with cypress trees and mangroves along the coast. This region is another one that is mostly complete, with only the border with Elsewhere as the last major landscaping work needing to take place. Bravil. Bravil is the only city in the lower Niben regions that can be counted as partially complete content-wise, as you may have seen in our Bravil City trailer. To start with, Bravil has seen a lot of work already, but because it was the third city we worked on after Bruma, it found itself being worked on in the middle of a transition period in the mod's development. As such, the city has many elements which are only partially complete. This includes writing, editing, implementation, audio, 3D art, exteriors, interiors, and more. We will get back to giving it the love it so dearly needs after Colovia has reached the stage we are happy with. On the content side of things, we have all quests but one side quest and the city arc completed and partly tested in-game. Level design is similarly completed, although we will get back to some things here to polish it off a bit with some improved art assets, so you can see Bravil in all its glorious mud and rot. Bravil County is in a similar state as the city itself, with some exterior cells still being completed or fixed, but many of the towns and dungeons are at least in the first pass state. Finishing this region should go quickly after Colovia, so we can move on to the 3 other regions of the Niben that need the most love. One of these regions lies in the Veilless Mountains, with the minor city of Mir Corrup at the center of it all. Mir Corrup is a city that lies broken in the heart of the Veilless Mountains. While we aren't ready to show off this area, we can't wait to reach that stage. We will, however, say that writing has been more or less completed, and the art and level design are in active development. Cheydinhal. Cheydinhal is one of the jewels of the Niben region, and has had a lot of work done on it already. Asset work for the city is already nearing completion, and most of the writing is already completed. This means editing will be coming to the city in a reasonable time frame, with implementation and QA following shortly after. From a level design perspective, interiors and exteriors are in active development, with both seeing exceptional progress. The county itself is another story. While level design is mostly at a satisfactory first pass stage, the settlements and dungeons here are similar to that of Chorrol County, with some areas being reserved for questline content or needing other areas to see completion before we can start getting them in-game proper. Leyawiin. Leyawiin is the third main region of Nibenay, which will be handled after Bravil. It is in a similar state as Cheydinhal, and therefore has most of its writing already complete, as well as its art and level design also nearly complete. While there are some final assets needed for the city, they are already getting finalized alongside Cheydinhal assets. The interior kit is nearly complete already, with just a bit more work needed to reach the point where interior level designers can jump on them. The Blackwood region is one of the most unique areas in all of Cyrodiil, and we are happy to say that it is already very far along. Level design and writing have a great deal done, with even some implementation and QA work already done. There are more NPCs in Leyawiin County than in any other. Each settlement is unique, and is meant to help represent the diverse range of beliefs and lifestyles in the Nibenese culture. We believe we've successfully represented the spirit of Nibenay through these settlements, especially in Leyawiin County. Finally, there is the Heartland region. For now, we'll be remaining tight-lipped on progress here, but we can say that much of the Heartland region outside of the Imperial Isles is already complete, and we are looking forward to storming the Isles themselves. With the regional overview complete, we'd like to share some of the short-term goals we've reached during the past year. As of right now, there are just over 116 total quests in-game. 44 settlements have been fully implemented. We have just implemented our first Deagler quest, and as you've seen, all cities other than the Imperial City have at least their baseline writing complete. The art department has made great strides this past year, and you can see on screen some of our stats. Some of these stats may be deceiving, as those listed as incomplete doesn't imply that they haven't had any work done on them. 3/4 of the incomplete weapon sets are already above a 75% completion rate. 3 of the 5 city interior architecture sets are already above 75% complete, and these count our minor cities like Chorrol and Skingrad. 5/6 of the city architecture sets, which are incomplete, are above 75% completion. The art team has also completed all of our generic heavy armor sets. The last 2 light armor sets are currently having their concepts finalized. Only tweaking and adjustments are needed for all in-game sets. Art has also created numerous environmental assets, which are not easy to quantify. But as you have seen, there is an insane amount of these in-game, with the remaining assets delivered upon request from the exteriors team. If you are a 3D artist interested in any of these areas or have experience in texture creation, we are actively looking for artists experienced in these areas. Moving back to the narrative side of things, we are also proud to announce that we have both the Fighters Guild and the Synod and College of Whispers questlines fully written, with editing and revision to begin next year. Level design has laid the foundations for the entirety of Cyrodiil to build off of, and many dungeons have been completed. However, while this progress may sound extensive, we still have much work to do. The majority of dungeons need to be completed for the dark depths of Cyrodiil to finally see completion. The future is bright for Cyrodiil, even in the dark days of the 4th era. Our workflow is the train that carries us, and our destination is in sight. The future holds many exciting events. In the distance, we can see a tower of white gold, with the full might of our writing team writing for an Imperial Isle that has assets in a fully completed state. You can see these assets in active development in our VOD channel. And right beside the work on the Isles is the writing of our main quest lines, the Seat of Sundered Kings and Knights of the Nine, both of which already have their foundations laid and will begin formal writing next year. Our remaining guild questlines have moved away from the current focus, but we are hopeful that they will see the light again in the future. We will continue to use AI voices as a placeholder until we are ready to record all proper voice acting once the majority of Cyrodiil is complete to achieve consistency. This will be a major task, as we have already surpassed the amount of voice lines in vanilla Skyrim. Yes, the future is bright indeed. We would love to give you a release date, but we want to be fair with you and not give you any false expectations that we can't live up to. To help make this project a reality, you can spread the word and share our project with others. If you or other people you know are interested, you can learn modding in the Arcane University, a place where experienced modders can help you on your way. We would love to see your applications, as every contribution helps get the project out for all of you out there. During our video, you might have noticed which departments we need most help in, but for clarity, we are looking for animators, 3D artists, texture artists, writers, editors, implementers, sound designers, interior and dungeon designers. We would also love to grow our public relations or PR team to help us better show off all the work we do here. You haven't seen many dev diaries because they take resources away from development, but we still want to show you what we've been up to, and we'd like to show you more. If you're interested in helping us out with video production, send us an application. Having a dedicated team doing this work would help immensely, as that means our developers can focus on what they do best, bringing the Cyrodiil of the 4th era to life. And with that said, we would like to thank everyone for sticking with us until the end. With all of you at our side, our passion will burn strong, and with that fire in our hearts, there may be hope for this Empire of the Fourth Era yet.